Hey everybody, thought I'd just do a little bit of a video on my completed main fleet for first fleet for the Dropfleet Scourge. I do have one smaller pack that I got as an extra that I've not gotten to yet that I will do, but for the most part, all of the bulk like starter, I got 2 starter sets as well. You know, this was basically 2 starter sets is exactly what this is. An old starter, I'm getting this wrong because I bought 2 starter sets, but really this is one old starter set because the new one doesn't come with this army, and then this is a starter box, which is not like a set with dice and all that stuff. It's just like a fleet starter box, and I've combined them together, and that's what I've got here. Essentially, one of the nice things for those of you guys that haven't played about this game, they have changed the bases. These ones were actually pretty cool. They actually have like little things that you can track, different levels in space that you're on, so they don't use these anymore. I suppose there's ways you could probably still use them if you wanted to, but these colors on the bottom, you slide, and it actually, these colors mean something like which level you're in space, and then, or actually these up here, whether it's partially black and white, like those lines, whether it's, so like here it's showing 2 lines, and then it's white, and then it goes black after that, and that's just to determine what level in space you're on. It's kind of neat. There's a wound counter on here and things. I think when TT Combat bought it over, they went to their clear bases that just show firing arcs. They don't show any of the other information. And I do have a brand new starter set that has 2 factions in it. The other main faction I'm going to do, the humans, UCM, and I actually will have half and half. I'll have half from the starter set of UCM that this was there, these kind of bases, and I'll have half with the clear ones. But to be honest, I don't really care so much about that they don't match. You can still use the old ones with the next edition of the game. Just to give you a bit of an idea of what these are, these small ones are a light ship, essentially. This would be, I believe, a frigate class, and even though they all have the same body style, there are 4 here that are kind of like drop ships, because they can fight, but their armament isn't that great. But basically, their whole purpose is to be able to bring troops onto cities, because Dropfleet is really all about, in the end, is to win the game. It's about actually manning cities with troops. Like, you're basically competing in orbit. It's not primarily made for deep space, this game. It's primarily an orbital game where you're like above the surface of a planet, and the whole purpose is to garrison troops on that planet and do it better than your opponent. They also make a game called Drop Zone, which is those troops fighting, and vehicles and ships and everything fighting on the planet, so they're kind of linked. This is almost like a precursor in the timeline, so to speak. And so there's this one, and then I have 2 that, I have one that's sort of like, to be honest, I forget which one's which. I think this one, I think this is the Harpy. Somebody could correct me in the comments, which just means it's a bit better at long distance firing than this one, and then this one is the Jin, I think. And it could be reverse, where it's actually just, they both can fire a certain amount long distance, but this one has some really powerful close action weaponry. And so I have 2 and 2 of those. So I have 2 sort of fighter types each, and then I have 4 that are for that purpose of landing. Now, all of these are actually cruiser ships. So even though there are 2 that look different, they all are actually the same class of ship. This would essentially, these were the older resin models, and in the lore in the game, and I actually personally, I really like these, the way they look. There's so much detail on them. I just think they're really cool. It was hard in the video to show it, but I did paint some engine, lights in there. I do love the detail on these resin ones. These would be considered like an older variant, sort of like the F-15 versus like, the F-14 or something like that. Like, they're just an older variant. And these two are kind of shooty, basically. And I didn't really have a choice. Like, I mean, technically speaking, the only real difference you might be able to tell is that on the wings, they're a little bit different. These ones, and I'd painted the red dots, but these ones actually have these sort of baffles, or I don't know what you'd call those, but there's some slight weapon differences on the two, and that actually signifies the class of the ship. And they're both shooty, so they both can go in there. And, you know, of course, being cruisers, there's more hull points. You know, they're a bit tougher than those lighter ships I showed in the beginning. This one here is I believe I know this one is the Hydra, and it has these holes in the wings because those basically allow fighters. So although it can shoot, it is meant to actually really just bring fighters out, and so you can have fighters and bombers potentially. I have to check whether they have bombers on that one. I don't know, but and then this one here is very important in that, like those first ones that I talked about, this one actually has on the front here. The nice thing about some of these kits is they have all these different attachments. You can kit them out the way you want. But this one actually has they're drop units essentially, but they're larger than these ones I showed. And so like more drop units go down based on the size of the ship. And so this would be the one that you really want to put a lot of troops down at once. And so you need that in this game. If you actually just try to win the game by just killing your opponents, you're gonna lose. Like, you actually have to basically have stuff that can bring troops down. And then lastly, this is another one that's a bit shooty. And so this actually does kind of like those other first two old ones, can come in and actually just kind of help you destroy some ships. They're not sending out fighters or dropping troops. And so yeah. I'm actually really kind of excited about the game. Like I said, I have one more pack of ships, small ships to do. They would be of a class like this. It's just they don't have the same body style. They're more a boarding ship that goes in there and sends in. You can literally send in boarding pods to go on to your opponent's ships and have your troops inside their ship, and which is another component of the game among many others. And then I have the UCM force. So I have some other projects to do. I'm going to be working now on my French-Indian War again and finishing my Grenadiers. And so like that's going to be the next thing that I'll do. And I have that. I'll have another video on it, but I'm going to be, we're going to be playing some Silver Bayonet, and so I have some stuff related to that going on, but I probably won't be touching too much of that until I finish my French-Indian War stuff. So that's about it for me today. Hope you guys are having a good one. I'll just mention, for those of you that are watching this closer to when it's been published, we will have a Musty Wargamers over at Rusty's tomorrow, same time. It's over at Hellcorrex, and hope to see you there, and join us in the comments if you're around, or in the live comments chat. Take care.